Morning, John.
Hey, Jeff. I don't know how many people are going to show up because I know Mike's gone. I know Willing there, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Okay. I know this is a short week for everybody. Okay. Pass downs. Let's see if I click this, you guys see it? Let's see.
Yes, I see that.
No, if I click this link.
Yes, I see that window as well.
Oh, cool. Okay.
That's helpful, isn't it?
Yeah, that's makes it very much more convenient. So anyway, the pass down to the global summit. There's this DSC initiatives, open system for AI is up and running. So they've had their second meeting and they started, and now I think they just sent an invitation out for the general community to join. They decided it would be a fully open meeting, which is going to be interesting. But it's basically a steering committee, another steering committee, just to cover all the AI work streams and sub-projects occurring underneath OCP. So it's only work it has for itself is a position paper and an architecture paper, I believe, that they're going to do. And that's trying to draw, connect all the work that's being done. So if you have people who are interested, they should go join. Second is, I just added, as I always do, the list of all the contributions that have gone through and are either in review or ballot. There's actually two forms now. One, they actually just present at steering committee, and then they go on the ballot. The other is to not even present it, to consider it, quote, minor enough that the SC doesn't need to know about, need to be presented to it. They're still showing the slides, still available. Just there's no presenter. And then the document itself. So, okay. So is that the pull request. So first pull request I have is the GPU management profile. So do this right.
So, John, before you dive into that, just in general for all these requests, so what do you see as the process for us to get them approved by? Is it by this work stream moved up to Hardware Management for approval and then out to the various? I mean, I would assume that before we Hardware Management sign off on these, that we would want some cycle of review with the with whatever team would be the ultimate consumers.
Yes. So I think I allowed it out in the process is that in the process diagram. Let's see who else has joined.
Okay.
Oh, hey, hi Donald. Thanks for joining.
Hey, yeah, no problem.
So the process is that we do everything in the folder. So as far as there's a sustainability one, right? It's done in the folder. We put out drafts there. We complete it, and then it stays there. And it stays there until the controlling group, in sustainability profile, will be owned by Sustainability Project. That they say we approve everything in its draft form in the draft folder, and then they can promote it up to the root directory.
Okay.
So let's see. I want to make sure Donald understands what's going on. So Donald, are you familiar with the profile repository?
No, I am not.
Okay, so this is how we do our
Yeah.
work.
Yeah,
We
as a
have,
general rule. Okay, cool.
go ahead.
I was going to say, just as a general rule, just assume the answer is no, I do not. I know I am not. So I was
Okay.
actually going to be, if we had time, I was going to ask you for some time to discuss how some of these processes work.
Oh, okay,
So,
we'll go through it now. We're quickly evolving because over the last, I guess, 6 months, there have been a
yeah,
lot of profiles added, and we try to get a process. So uh, we understand what's going on. We can do our work of we're experts at, which is basically profiles, and still leave control to the subject matter experts, regardless of
right.
what project they happen to be in. Okay, so when you look at the overall profile repository, the first thing you find is that there are folders, and these are for all
Okay.
drafts that exist that are not still being worked on. And then at the bottom is all the profiles which have been released. So there's the baseline, it's had an
Okay.
errata. The rack manager, or OpenOMC, it's had its erratas. And then there's
Yeah.
the server management profile. So at this point, those are the only approved profiles. And the profiles are approved because they have a usage guide attached to it. The usage
Okay.
guide can be found in the repository. The usage guide is is a document, not a Word document anymore. But it explains how to use the profile. It's basically a table of tasks. And then for each task, it has a pointer to the interaction that you would have with Redfish. So say post to this, you will get this JSON fragment.
Mhm.
And then this is the serial number that you seek, which is the task,
Yeah.
right? Right. So we had to separate that because most people in other projects don't give a shit about JSON, much less
Yeah.
profile syntax. So they review the document because they
Okay.
understand how to look at that document. And once they do, then it's our job to make sure that document reflects the actual profile which is generated.
As a computer science major and a sea of double E's, I totally understand what you mean.
Okay, yeah, right. Yeah, we have found that. We have found that they really don't.
Yeah.
You guys like that stuff. We don't. So so in the case of like server management, well, there's actually a draft on the server called 1.1
Mhm.
that we're still in the process of working through, and people have actually we push it out here because people can now take it and run it. Right?
Right.
They don't necessarily wander into branches. They wander into folders. So we've actually had someone go off and attempt to do this
Yeah.
and reported an issue against it saying, "Yeah, this draft isn't quite done, guys." No. So once this is we are okay with this and we know it runs, um, then I send a note to the server project
Okay.
saying we have a draft, we need it promoted. You guys need to decide because the teeth in all this is the server design spec. Because
Right.
server design spec has an entry at the very top saying under manageability section, sorry, which says that the servers should conform to the server management profile,
Right.
and they own the version. So we could do all our homework all day long, right? If they don't
Right.
flip to 1.1, it's like they don't care. So, okay,
Yeah,
that
that
answer
makes
your
sense.
question?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. It's we do it, we submit it to them, but until they update their document saying, nope, we're switching to this version, then as far as the rest of the world is concerned, it doesn't exist.
right, right. It has no teeth. It exists.
Right.
People can run it. People can say we
Yeah.
comply to 1.1, but it's like as far as OCP is concerned, complying to 1.0 is sufficient. The
Right.
big push here is that Redfish converted from the old power and thermal model to the power subsystem and
Yeah.
thermal subsystem model. That's being requested by the server guys, right? They're saying, why can't we just use the new model? And
Yeah.
so I had to update the baseline because it was the new model for uh, power subsystem and thermal subsystem. And now we're just gonna go into the server and flip the bit to say you, instead of referencing 1.0 baseline, you reference 1.1 baseline.
Okay, makes sense.
So, okay. And then I think last week, I actually talked about, oops, inheritance diagram. Oh, well, I should have added the link here. So there's an inheritance diagram where previously we only did platforms. And so we had a baseline, and then we had a server and storage and network would have all subclassed themselves from baseline as the common set of manageability. What we found in the last year is people saying, platforms are too big. Can we have a component baseline that every component within a platform needs to be conformed to it, and we'll subclass from the component baseline, namely GPU. GPU is not a platform, it is a component. So
Right.
we want a generic component baseline and then have GPU a subclass off of it and other entities in the platform subclass of it. And that's why we now have to have this inheritance diagram to say, okay, these things can go subclass from platform baseline, and these other ones can subclass from component baseline.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we have the sustainability profile, which we'll talk about later today. I think Jeff Otter has updates to it. Okay. So that
Okay.
explains this component baseline here.
Right.
And then thinks that we don't have comment. Oh yeah, we don't have Redfish services. So anyway, we'll talk about that later. Okay. So going to go to my first pull request. Okay. With that, let's go to the first pull request. So all I've done here is that there is a ongoing effort to do manageability for GPUs. It is being done in a non-public CLA, sorry, I have to move, a non-public CLA workstream. And so they actually published version 5 middle of last year. They just published version 9, 0.9, sorry, which is now in the contribution database. And so and as part of that 0.9, they've added a profile. So all I've done is I said, guys, since it's public, I like to be able to find to be able to find it in the public place
Yeah.
for profile. So I've taken, let me see. Okay, so I've taken their profile and I put it here as a 0.9. And if we look at it, it leaves, there's a profile. Oh, profile's up here. It leaves a lot to be desired, but that's the way life is, right?
Yeah.
This is all they know to do. So if you look, I think yeah, most of the descriptions are not. Yeah, they've basically gone in and make everything and purpose. Yeah, oh yeah, a bunch of placeholders. Yeah, that was what I was laughing at. So all the purposes are placeholders. So that's what they have. And
Okay.
the second is a README. And the README basically says that this profile is still in process. Go look at this document, which is in the contribution database. Entry will be updated as made available by the contributors. So whenever they do an update, they can send it across. And then the contributors will have access to any issues that are filed here, but they will decide whether it's covered or not. So you can lodge your issues here, and I'll point them to it. That we have a place to accumulate issues from the outside. You can respond to it. You can ignore it. It's up to you to go do.
Okay, cool.
And then
Yeah, so-
last is this diagram. Okay, does it show a diagram?
So by the way, I'm seeing the pool. Are you actually showing other things as you talk about them?
Oh yeah, yeah. So what do you see?
Oh, sorry.
I'm seeing the actual pull request.
Yes, yes. No, I'm just showing the pull request.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure that the share hadn't frozen up.
No, no. I'm trying to show the diagram, and the diagram isn't coming up.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we're not seeing your cursor move, John.
You're not?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you open another window, or I mean another tab? We're seeing the top of the conversation for the pull request.
Oh no, I'm moving around in the pull request.
Yeah, we're not seeing that.
Okay.
We're seeing your browser window with 4 tabs open.
Yeah.
We'll just freeze the.
Oh, that you're looking at that. How's that?
There we
That
go.
looks a little different. Yes.
Okay, okay. So I'll go through this again. So this is the profile that they have. You'll notice that most of these are placeholders, right? So
Yeah.
they specified the resources and as much and properties as they can, but they've really not filled out any of the other information. And then my README, which is I read to you, which is a short thing, which basically says that this is just a snapshot, and yeah, you can add issues, and that's it.
Okay.
And then the diagram itself is in here, and of course it won't share. So I'm gonna share the diagram. So this diagram is pulled directly from the document.
Okay.
So this is document which is public. This GPU management, and this is actually the last diagram at the bottom of the document, and it shows you a standard redfish diagram of the resources. So if you notice, are you familiar with the with a redfish diagram?
I have not seen a redfish diagram specifically, but
Okay.
it looks to me like it's just your standard tree diagram of component dot component dot component.
It is. The only addition we've made is that
Yeah.
Redfish has 2 types of entities. It's singletons for these white
Okay.
things,
Yeah.
and then what we call collection resources,
Okay.
which have more than one. And
Yeah.
the shorthand is I plug these directly into it, so we don't have to have yet another
Okay.
arrow. Like,
Yeah. I'm that part I'm familiar about.
Okay.
There's a difference between pulling data on CPU, which gives you high level, versus CPU 1, CPU 2, CPU 3 type
Right.
of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So what they have is they've defined the UBB, and the GPUs are down here at the modeling. I'm assuming that the profile reflects this model or some portion of this model.
Yeah.
I haven't verified that yet, but
Okay.
hopefully this is the model they're going with, and they're just going to decide what it is. Okay.
Okay.
So with that, what I like to do is go back to the pool. Okay, that being the pull request, I'd like to. Are there any objections to approving this pull request?
Not from my standpoint.
Okay.
It'll be nice to get it in there so we can get more eyes on it and maybe help them flesh out some of those pieces that are just placeholders.
Oh, here a conversation. Got this thing slow.
And John, we're approving this as a 0.9.
Pardon?
You're approving this as a 0.9.
No, I'm approving this as eventually getting to 1.0. So this is a copy of 0.9.1.
Okay.
So all I'm doing is we're approving it to be made visible by pushing it into draft. So there's now a GPU subdirectory,
Gotcha. Okay.
right? And then now it's pushed there. And basically, once you get in, you read me saying, the real document's way over there. Oh, this is kind of a placeholder until it goes to 1.0.
Gotcha.
At which
Okay.
point, right? So yeah, I didn't know quite how to do it, but once it became public and in OCP, I figured I could move it anywhere, not violating it.
Yeah. I mean, technically this is all public because you can see it in the pull request, but it's not like you get it when you look at the repo.
Right.
So yeah, I agreed.
Right, and I hate the people looking for that GPU profile because they heard about it somewhere
Yeah.
and can't find it here. It's like,
Right.
right. Oh, and second thing is I've talked to the group itself, and they are going to do a markdown for the usage guide, and they will when they make it public, it will be published here.
Good.
So Donald, as I told you, we have a usage guide and a profile.
Yeah.
They will also be writing the usage guide because I said
Okay.
that then you guys can figure out the task that you guys want to write a test for. Okay, so that I think the only other item is that we have to talk about is sustainability. So Jeff, did you want to talk to that, or did you want to talk about Redfish service?
Either. Either both.
Okay, then you have the floor.
Okay.
You want to share?
Well, I don't need to. If you want to
Okay.
just click on the poll. Yeah, so I just want to get next. So just this morning I updated the baseline profile to incorporate a bunch of the feedback from Mike. And I also put up a use case document, at least the start of one. There's take a look at the take a look at the files. You can click on the OCP, I think it's the third file is where the output of that. Yeah, that's it. It's the top, that one.
This
Yep.
one right here?
Yeah, just go ahead and click that.
Okay. So Don, to bring you up to speed, since this was our way of consolidating all the Redfish, generic Redfish services that need to
Okay.
exist for Redfish endpoint, instead of if you look at the baseline or the server profile, it really has a weak idea of what is needed for Redfish service.
Yeah.
So it basically focuses on the actual model for the server. So this allows us to, within the server profile, just point to, hey, if you're a Redfish endpoint, you got to have all these anyway. So we're just gonna list it in one
Right.
place.
And I guess that was going to be one of my questions is, do you all do explicit inheritance or implicit? Do you all say, okay, OCP server management is based off of Redfish protocol X.Y, and then if there's a X.Z update, you have to go in and pull that in, or is it just based on the latest, and whatever the latest happens to be is what gets pulled in?
It's
Yep.
explicit.
Okay. So you'll do
Actually, yeah, it actually, if we, second here. You want to talk about this? I'll go back to it. So the question I have is when we update server to 1.1.0 baseline,
Mhm.
where the profile will profile reference will allow just a major minor, and I can skip the errata.
Yeah.
Do you understand that, Jeff?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so what does the profile syntax allow me to do? Can I just put baseline 1.1 and it'll,
Yes.
oh, good. Then I'll go fix it.
Oh, yeah. Yes, it does not, it actually, I don't think it even allows for the errata.
It does.
Oh, well, yeah.
It may ignore it, but it
You may
allows it.
ignore it, yeah.
Okay,
But yeah,
so
the point would being it would, if you say 1.1 and if there is a 1.1.17, it would certainly want to take the latest errata because that should be no new requirements. But certainly a bunch of fixes apparently. So John, just scroll this. This is the table of contents. Scroll. It confused me too because I'm like, what the heck where's all this stuff? But I just didn't scroll. So there's my start of the use case bits for this, and I don't, John, I don't expect to do more than a few sentences or a paragraph on kind of each of these because we'd effectively be writing an entire management user guide. I hope that we don't need to do that for the service profile, that like take some assumption that folks know what the heck user what these various topics are.
I would make liberal pointers to the reference document spec.
Oh, you mean in terms of like how it's
Yeah, if you want more information, go look this section
Oh,
in the
sure.
reference spec. We're not going to reproduce it here, guys.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. I got no problem making references. I just didn't want to rewrite the spec here.
Oh yeah. Then we have to keep this in sync, right?
Yeah. Right. I mean, but the point here is if you don't know what user management is, this is not the place to be learning it. This is us setting up the.
You're usually too far down the curve for us to go
Yep.
back and. Okay.
Yeah, but yes, giving you a pointer or the search term is the goal. So yeah, so I kind of flesh those out and so more of that to come. But wanted to get in here so that so maybe other folks could help contribute a couple of those paragraphs. And then the rest of that is is just the reference, is just the generated reference guide. And that from there down is all auto-generated text.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's the guide doc
Oh, okay.
in profile mode. Which is also why I don't want to rewrite the spec because if you don't understand what user management is, here's the stuff that will be involved with user management. It's all generated.
Okay.
Yeah, and the doc generator will pulls any of the text, the purpose text, and the conditional requirement pieces, any of that text that's put into the profile, that gets copied and expressed here too. So.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see it generates quite a bit of documentation in a hurry.
Okay. Jesus, this is big.
Well, it's effectively a guide doc. So again, baseline pulls a lot of stuff. So
Okay.
and then the actual the next file is the actual profile doc. Mike and I did quite a bit of work on that. Yeah, you have to expand that diff at the top, John. There you go. That you were there. There it is.
What below?
Oh no, that's the config. Scroll up a little bit. The document above.
Oh, you want the document above? Or you want?
No, just click that load diff in the window above you there. To your right there.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, so yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's been resolved. I think I have to go back and click on some of those. I think I may have gotten some more of the things that Mike pointed out probably also need to be resolved now, or could need to be marked as resolved. So try and take advantage of as much of the profile stuff as we can. There's some of the if implemented, and then realize that some of the I had some things wrong, but corrected those. So so John, yeah, at this point, it's certainly time for other folks to chime in on the, on what the requirements are. So I don't know if we want to, do we want to, do we want to merge this stuff in as I don't care what version. Oh, I think oh no, that's correct. I mean, I think I marked it as 0.7 there. I don't care what version we want to call it for a first pass, but I feel like we've gotten pretty far along with it, and certainly we didn't start this from, well, it was started from a blank sheet of paper, but it's certainly not a blank sheet of understanding, right? So. But my concern with this one is, other than the folks present and Mike and maybe one other or two other people, I don't know who else we're going to get to chime in on the requirements. So
Yeah. So I need to take a look at this. So
yeah.
one thing before I take a look is this a high baseline or is this a low minimum baseline?
It is. It may be. It's a high base. I think it's a low baseline given a modern implementation.
So
So
this is something we should generally expect everyone to implement.
yes,
It has
yeah. So I took the service requirements for something like, a PDU CDU. So it's not asking you for a ton of fancy redfish stuff, but things that we would expect to be handled via redfish. So, user configuration, firmware updating, certificate management, those are all firmware tasks, and those are at least strongly recommended, if not required. But yeah, so it is definitely not a minimal implementation, but it's a, hey, I want to be able to get stuff done, at scale for a data center. Then you need to be able to handle these basic management tasks via redfish. But yeah, so do take a look at it, John, because we found lots of little things here and there that we've changed to make sure that we weren't asking for things that weren't necessary. And I've tried to take the tact of that, if the data, it's either this is data that is necessary for things like Tacklebox or other tools to be able to either navigate or discover, and be able to get enough of, to be able to present enough of a picture to a user, so some, any of the structural pieces that are necessary, and then also a sprinkling in there of the, oh my gosh, any customer trying to do basics, would want to have this data. So it's like so things like asset tags and locations, like yeah, I want you to show that. It's some of that may not be required, but this is really useful data as an end user to be able to do my job.
most of the stuff recommended, is most of the stuff required. See, I like recommended. That means that's a directional. You should
yes,
go,
yeah. So
as opposed to you fail.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that's what we want to run through. That's what I think we want to run through with the group for feedback is it asking too much to make those required? And we're certainly like we can discuss it, but I mean, in general, it's like, yeah, let's make that recommended. And Mike has kind of steered me in some other directions on making some things required, or effectively, like for instance, like the license service. So the way that's worded now is effectively, if you support license management, if you support license stuff via redfish, then you need to have, you need to support both the action and the post method for dealing with licenses. So it's a, now you don't have to have licenses, but if you do, then, then do a decent job of supporting it.
It's a mandatory piece of an optional component.
Exactly.
Okay. So it looks like these are Redfish services for full platform, not for a component.
It's not for a component. Yeah, it is for a platform.
Okay, so we would point baseline to this, or we would take server and say, server, you point to baseline and you point to Redfish service.
I believe that this replaces baseline and that server should, that there's probably stuff in existing baseline that needs to go to server. So everything there is no let's see, I think there, yeah.
No. Baseline has to exist. Baseline is the common manageability across all OCP platforms. You have to be able to reset an OCP platform. That's why it exists. So I have no problem but baseline has, I think, account service and a couple of other things.
Yeah.
So
So, well,
right. I believe we should remove those and just point to this. But
right. So I guess, John, what I'm getting at is that if we as we move forward, I suspect that what is in the existing baseline is either 100% migrated here, or it was server specific things that we should pull out of the baseline and move to server to get, the line moves.
no, then where do you create the common manageability across all OCP platforms? That was the one thing that highway management
Yes.
said.
Well, that's
So you can say you absorb it into Redfish service, but
I believe, yes, I believe it gets absorbed here. I think there may be a question of are there hardware requirements that are common that are not covered here? And I don't think so. I think it's what I'm saying, John, is that I think we made some mistakes in the original baseline where, hey, I can't, the CDU guys can't consume the existing baseline because it places some requirements. I think it had some stuff about you had to have some computers and or some other things that like, oh yeah, that's a server thing, not a a CDU wouldn't need that.
Okay. No. That I understand. We're just playing with words at this point, right? So I don't consider CDU a compute platform in the same area as server, storage, and network.
Right.
I may not completely understand how this all works, but it feels to me like if we're talking about doing a baseline, the baseline should be, this is enough information that your management console has the ability to figure out what type of device this is, so it then knows where to go look, whether that's /server or /CDU or
Correct.
/storage device or whatever, and only put the bare minimum necessary for whatever your third party or homegrown services to go, oh, I know what this is now. Now I go look at the code to go for that specific device.
Yes, that is the first part, and then the second part is, given any management controller, any device with a Redfish managed interface on it, then there's all the housekeeping stuff that's purely firmware based, right? There's no hardware componentry to it. So I'm not requiring you to have temperature sensors or power monitors or anything like that. But you got to have account management. You got to be able to change password. I need to be able to install certificates, set up event destinations, et cetera, et cetera. It's all that stuff, and that's what we would have as a requirement for any device. So,
okay, so this is all the so this is the common API library.
Yes.
Okay. Now I've got in my head
so
what you're trying to do here.
Yeah, so I'll be the first one to admit, right? When I started this 4 years ago, we had baseline, and then we had server and storage and networking subclassing for it, and that was a nice, easy thing that everyone kind of understood. we've grown and we've evolved, and I have no problem kind of reswiggling all this to match what you guys are saying. One thing I will say is that a lot of profiles link to baseline
Yeah,
because the OCP rule is, in the way I sold it was we have a baseline, guys. This common manageable, it goes all you platforms. Server, I'm writing a server profile with subclasses from baseline, so you guys are good. All you other platforms, if you guys don't have the wherewithal or care to extend beyond the baseline, then you just declare baseline in your design spec. So
yeah.
storage
So
would just declare baseline and network could declare baseline. So fuzzing with that word, right? Whatever
mhm,
it is, it needs to be preserved because that's what's in the spec. And if we change
yeah,
that name, the specs need to go change. And I don't want to do that because no generation of specs before we get teeth again.
yeah.
Do what you will. Do what you will with hierarchies. Just don't change that baseline name.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, so yeah, however we want to handle that, if it's either we rename this to the, to the next version of the management baseline, and
You
that
could you could call it management baseline if you want, right? But that's different than the baseline which exists today is what I now call the platform baseline, right? But we'll just call this management baseline or the management services baseline, whatever
yeah, yeah, whatever, well, I guess, so what do you, when you say the platform baseline going forward, John, what do you think that, who, do you believe is that, when you say platform, is that server, or is that server, storage, and network? Is
that's
it,
service stores and network.
okay,
So that's why if we have this management services baseline, right, it's inherited by the platform baseline, and everyone inherits above that, then we're good. And hardware management would own the management services baseline and the
that's,
platform
yeah,
baseline.
that's fine. And it may be that the platform, well, I just say we need to go look and see where, if we, it may be the platform baseline may become a very small profile, and that's fine.
Exactly. That's exactly why I made it small, because
Yeah,
I said what I want to impose mandatory on all you platforms is minimal.
yeah,
You just got to jump over this hoop and you can get on stage with me, which is why when they did a switch uh, uh, implementation of this, I said, what do you mean? He said, "John, we met the baseline. It was easy. Just had to have
right,
temperature and some reset and
yeah.
whatever."
Oh,
And
yeah, I need to step away for a quick minute, John. But so I think what you will see here is the bar has been raised significantly on that from the original baseline that was an absolute minimal redfish pieces. So there's a lot more stuff here, but I would hope the goal is still not to scare anyone, but if you try to run this on a 7-year-old redfish interface, I think you'll find that, like, yeah, you're not going to meet a lot of stuff.
right. And so what I think will happen is I think this is a fine thing to do. I think the minute we put management baseline out there and we subclass baseline from it, people are going to start filing issues because it's the first time this new requirement has, they've run into this problem, right? And all the things that used to pass now fail, and they're going to say, you just screwed up my life, and I have to go talk to my validation people again, recode, right? And so what we'll do is we'll create another management baseline below this one, which will kind of make those people happy. It may be archaic, but it will exist. And we'll point people that they have to go here to this one. But just because you jumped on the wagon early and tried to implement, we're not going to penalize you. And we'll say, hey, we're going to create a baseline. We'll call it, So I have no problem with this going out at 2.0, right? We'll now create 1.0 for you guys who jumped on this the first time. So you guys can still run. You guys will still pass. and all these additional requirements that we've added late 2 years later, 3 years later, right, doesn't impact your validation schemes. That makes sense? Because I know the minute we hooked this up to baseline, people are going to fail, right?
Yeah.
They've been sloppy. We've allowed them to be sloppy.
Right.
We got to say, okay, we allowed you to be sloppy. Here's the version 1.0 is for. It's for
Right.
the early adopters who actually tried to get there.
Mhm.
So then, I just because I like asking stupid questions, do we need to hold this change request for right now, create that formalized 1.0 based on the current edition, and then bring this change request in once the 1.0 is locked as the 2.0 prototype?
I think we already have those 1.0s already exist.
Okay.
Yeah, and those early adopters, by the way, those early adoptions are 9 years old now, or
Yeah.
coming up on
Exactly.
9.
Yeah, understand.
But
Yeah,
this gives them a direction where improvement should occur, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else? Jeff?
Not for me.
Nope.
So Jeff, what do you want to do at this point? You want to merge this and then make it public so people can now look at it?
Yes. Yeah, I think so. If we want to wait another week or two and to maybe to get some, maybe I can get you and Mike to help maybe flesh out some of those use case paragraphs,
Mhm.
or but again, I think they're mostly they're pretty obvious.
Okay. And I think I want to do one slide talking about what we've just talked about and make this like 2.0 something,
Sure.
right? And say, hey, we envision a 1.0. Yeah, for those who run this and have a problem, we're going to create a 1.0 for you. Make sure you guys are okay,
Yeah.
taken care of. Or you're just going to have a bunch of people complain about this stuff.
Yep.
Okay, so go back to.
Yeah, I guess, given that, I think that I would say let's it's in the folder, so it is a whatever 0.7. So if merging it gets some more visibility, let's do that.
Oh yeah, people aren't going to look at this as a branch,
Yeah.
right? They have to do special things for it to appear. And I don't assume people understand GitHub well.
Right.
Wait, you mean not everybody, looks at GitHub on a daily basis?
They don't even have GitHub indications, so they can get notified of every change.
I have
Well,
to have an inbox folder for GitHub.
Well, and John's right. It's like they certainly won't go look at pull requests and go peruse the work in progress, right? So
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
this is enough that we think we're ready for other people to look at it, not laugh too hard.
Right.
Okay, so we're going to change this to 2.0, or we'll worry about versioning later.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, we'll just say approval to merge.
Yeah, and John, I had not looked at what would be what would need to be picked up by platform or server. I didn't look at that. So
yeah, so no, yours is a good template, because when I did baseline, I knew nothing about any of that stuff. So I just and people gamed the system as much as they could. So I'm glad someone is filling it out. So all because you have account service, it really didn't have to do anything. So
exactly, yeah. And so on the sustainability one, I guess same question. I mean, I can certainly speak for the work stream that's doing that work, and we've gone through stuff. And I don't know what version I put on that, but it's 0 point something. So maybe this is the same question. Do you you want me to get do you want me to get this, that works, the sustainability work stream to nod and say, yeah, this is worthy of
Yes, yeah. If they say it's ready,
0.2.
it's ready to be public as a draft, so other people can comment beyond.
Yeah.
It's in the, then yeah, then it should be done.
Okay, then yeah, I think it's safe for us to say that.
Wait, yeah. Now, or do you want to have to ask somebody?
No, I'd say let's do that now.
All right.
Oh,
So
actually, hold on, John. You know what? Hold on. There was a comment there that I forgot. Somebody entered something the last day or two or recently. I think I have that. Uh, that's in the profile.
you want me to wander there, or
Let me make sure I've addressed. Scroll up a little more in terms of who's the. Oh, yeah. Okay. No, this is correct.
so
Yeah, yeah. So the what he's talking about is the trying to find losses. And yeah, we have. So if you scroll down now, you'll see he's got, he's highlighting the fans, the cooling fan, right? So yeah, so that's what we're doing. And what he's asking, what he's going to state here in his comment is hey, for the efficiency, PUE calculations, we need to have this. So yeah, it's the other categories like, yep, that's a thing that we need to deal with. That's not a profile thing. We actually have that as a redfish issue at the moment. So I'll comment on that, but
do you want to wait and then tell me and tentative approval to merge?
yeah, let me. Oh,
It's not. It's going to be another month.
Yeah, go. Let's go ahead and merge it, because this is chicken and egg. This is not gonna. I can't solve this with a profile yet. I'll still comment on his thing in the pull request, but I can do that even when it's closed.
There. Okay. All right. I think that's it. I think the rest of them, Mike's and my component profile. And now that we have the GPU profile out, I can see if the component profile is a logical subset of
Yep.
the GPU profile, which is what I was waiting for. Okay.
But you didn't click the merge button yet, though.
No, I do that afterwards.
Okay. I'm gonna watch it blow up.
I just say approval of the merge, and then I can go back and do the merge. Okay.
By the way, this whole the whole develop was it the I can't remember what the acronym is, the developer sign off requirement. I was looking through that, and it's like, boy, the outside of the Linux Foundation, that whole concept is really doesn't have any teeth, by the way.
What do you mean developer sign off?
So if you go up and look, and I don't know if I assume this is not something you did, John. This is, I assume, something that OCP did.
Oh, yes, that thing. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, so looking through it's like, well, there was legal framework for what that meant, but that's tied to the Linux Foundation, if I remember correctly, tied to some organization that does that.
Right.
But everything else out of that is basically just I'm Bob Smith and I approve this message is kind of that's the only
that's the only benefit, right?
That's the only teeth it has on it. So but it makes if you don't put that line in there's you got to go rebase it. You can't go back and fix it. So they're at least, and I don't know if it's because we have enough admin rights on these repos to go ahead and click and say, yeah, it's fine. But so that's why it's passing. But I did the sign off message, but it's like, no, there were previous commits without sign off messages, therefore it still doesn't pass because that, that's the sign off requirement. So it's a pain.
Okay. So that'll be a separate discussion.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think if we reached the end of our agenda, nothing else.
Very
Thank
good.
you for attending.
All right,
guys.
yeah. Have a good
All right.
Fourth.
Okay.
Yes,
Talk to you
have a
later.
good
Yeah.
Fourth,
Have a great Fourth.
and talk to you in a month.
Yep.
Okay.